Citizens of the megacities, greetings. It is I, Hootie 1985, back again to talk. Baldur's Gate 3, Early Access. What's it all about? Well, first, let's go back in time for some clarity. Now, I enjoyed a little bit of Dungeons & Dragons as a youngster, a social meet-up at the weekend with friends playing a long-form adventure, which went on for months at a time, building up a character who is suspiciously like a certain bub-slinging metallic bone badass who shall not be named. But now, let's just call him Logan. Bollocks. That certain chaos effect of one of your friends making a decision to launch himself blindly at the suspicious chest with teeth, which of course turned out to be a mimic, causing you all to follow him blindly to save him. And the dice gods, oh, the dice gods, turning that perfectly planned heist into a fustercluck when your Dex 20 gnome thief rolls a 1 to disarm the alarm at the enemy base, which in turn leaves you, the team's tank, facing off against the entire enemy horde, barely escaping with your life, whilst the glass cannon wizard bravely casts invisibility to then nonchalantly wander out of the danger all the way back to town. Brilliant. Or when the Intelligence 4 samurai is the sole survivor of an encounter and there are 3 downed players, and he finds a stash of 2 bottles with a liquid inside that when smelt makes you feel better, and rolls a 1 to identify what the substance is, and as a result just decides to down both of those health potions, which would have at the time raised the cleric, who could have brought the rest of the party back, or at least told the samurai what he was holding. Or even in the other direction, that bard character that just has to try to seduce everything in their path, no matter what, deciding to try it on with the main bad guys first in command, and being told outright that nothing shy of a natural 20 will do the trick. But oh look, the bard has now garnered the affection of the ogre barbarian, and will most likely return to the party with hips with the consistency of dust the following morning. Many years later, I still remember these incidents and the dice rolls which either screwed or saved us, the storylines we experienced and the settings we explored. Which brings me to Baldur's Gate 3, which I've been playing in early access for the last couple of weeks in the hope of capturing some new gaming memories and finding some new sparks of genius in the story realm and having some fun. The game itself is in early access, so this means I am experiencing bugs and glitches and cameras breaking and missing cutscenes and slightly odd animations, but this is to be expected as the game is still in progress. So, let's grab a drink, a snack, sit down, kick off the boots and chat about how Baldur's Gate 3 is shaping up in my own opinion. So I've been playing the game on stream for the most part, with a little bit here and there offline. I rolled a human cleric who was a follower of Tyr, the god of justice, of course, with the intention of being a noble soul who could deal damage and heal the party at the same time. I think he looks a bit like Ragnar Lothbrok from the series Vikings. They also made a tiefling Hellboy character at one point, which I thought was kind of cool, but I feel the customization options are lacking, as I couldn't make him a brute of a character, and all the different character types look the same for each race. But the options available for hair and beards all fit the character models really well, and I'd love to see this expanded before release. If the engine can make it work with all the in-game items you end up being able to customise your characters with, it'd be cool to have that one character who dwarfs everyone else, and another character who just may be a little bit too rotund, just to give the game a bit more flavour. Okay, strange segue I know, but let's talk about food for a second, a subject which I am very enthused about. You know, you get some restaurants out there that offer hundreds of dishes with a huge menu, but when you eat there, only a handful of the dishes are actually decent, and a lot of them are not original and end up lacking a certain something. Then you have other places which only offer a handful of options, but each of those options are on point and make the experience better, as the restaurant feels more focused on making that thing that they do the best that it can be. I feel this is how Baldur's Gate character creation is. The options are limited, but they are of a good quality. Just wish the body proportions could be adjusted. So, back to the game. The first thing you get to experience is a great cinematic, which really sets the scene of the game. It gives you a feel for what the game is about to begin with, and gives you a vivid look at what a certain addition to yourself promises to deliver if left unchecked. I hope there are some more of these cinematics throughout the game, as this one was drocking awesome. Then the game begins, and of course, you're in the thick of it, and everything is on fire. There's no, you all meet in a tavern. More, wake up, here's your sword, we're about to crash, and whatever you do, don't do the shit, there's no time kind of intro. And within 5 minutes of play, I was removing a brain from a seemingly still live subject, wondering why I feel some weird connection to the brain. Fast forward to a full party, currently of 4, but feeling like extra members are needed in order to maximise options in battle and cover skill gaps. I feel like I've not gotten to grips with the D&D 5th edition style rules just yet, and I'm not making use of my buffing spells and relying upon dealing damage with my cleric and not thinking about any other tactical options. I'd be a laughing stock in the halls of justice. And then things slow down. We take out a goblin camp, and the party comes across a barn, but there's a terrible bashing and crashing noise being heard inside. Despite the warnings, I bust in and interrupt a bugbear and an ogre bumping literal uglies. Obviously the pair are very upset and turn to smash my face in. Lesson learned, this game will go there, and I'm looking forward to more unexpected comedy along the way. We also stumble across a trio of ogres in the midst of lunch. 2 of your stereotypical drink, eat, stomp kind of guys, which is definitely not what I'd been like as a young man, cruising for that dirty kebab after an evening's drink. Definitely not. But the third ogre, for some reason, is eloquently debating on how best to partake of this fine specimen, like some learned scholar discussing the fine points of Actus Reus, with 2 vomit-covered drunkards over a plate of mixed doner and cheesy chips. Suddenly I'm feeling peckish. I'll be right back.
Am I not astonishing? A robust diet makes for a shrewd mind, you see.
Really?
I am a gourmand. And you, a delicacy. Unless you bear the mark, of course.
The overworld feels expansive for what I've seen, and at the time recording this, I'd entered into the Underdark, which appears to be a whole different planet compared to the above world. There are different areas you can enter into the Underdark, but I only managed one. But anyway, there are armoured creatures down there which try and obliterate you, and there's also roving groups of minotaurs that look to impale you. And there's even these fungus-like broccoli-headed coral people who talk to you via some spore clouds, which allow you to understand telepathic messages. Hang on, am I on some sort of hallucinogen here? Who thought these up? And what were they on at the time? I'm sure there must be a broken law or 2 in their creation. Control, fire up a meat wagon. I'm gonna need space for some game devs here. But anyway, I'm still barely scratching the surface of what the game has to offer, and there are tons of things that I've missed, or I'm not using properly, and it just means that hopefully this game is going to have a longer than average life cycle. The storyline so far seems to offer lots of different options that will lead you to very different outcomes. Without throwing too much of a spoiler, but do skip ahead about 30 seconds if you don't want to hear it. Yep, have you been warned? Cool. Right. So with this thing in your character's head, you enter an area where all seems to be well. You're directed to a character who can apparently help you with this problem that you have. So you visit the character, a healer, and they say they can help you. Except that when you allow them to help, they poison you. Nice. And only through some skill check passes are you able to get the antidote. It got me as a player. Cool way to make a choice, followed by a harsh, potentially fatal consequence. And yes, dice rolls in a video game. There is a nice on-screen visual when you score a critical hit in combat for an attack. It's a nice nod to the tabletop game. And they are also used for any in-game skill checks for things like religion, insight and intimidation rolls. It makes each use of a skill in a narrative scene a chance for things to go horribly wrong or for you to avoid an encounter. Which is cool for those people that wish to keep the game on a more chance-orientated run-through. but with a lot of people, it'll probably just mean reloading the game over and over until you get the result you want. Perhaps there will be a difficulty setting which will prevent this save scumming tactic. In the D&D world, in my opinion, the Dungeon Master can turn those failed rolls into something masterful, which still results in a state failure of the task, but not a straight "welcome to Fuckville, population U." In Baldur's Gate, there is much more of the fail the roll, get effed, or you failed the roll, this must mean you want to fight, or you failed the roll, this means we kill this person. It still makes for a fun experience, and it's nice that options don't railroad you into the same outcomes regardless of what you say. I also like how varied paths can be in the game so far, and I'm looking forward to see how some of them play out. In one area, I stumbled across a monster encampment and thought it was going to be a straight fight situation. But to my surprise, when the monster saw me, rather than jump and try and kill me, it entered into a conversation screen, and I was offered the chance to try and converse with the creature. But one failed skill check later for animal handling, and I'm trying to vaguely look big to this creature, who laughs at me, and then sadly makes the mistake of trying to kill me. So it's game on, chaps, and I turn the monster into giblets, leaving me feeling all heroic and stuff. Only for that to be shattered when the youngling appears, and another cutscene opens up to offer me the chance to Anakin Skywalker this thing, to which I'm struck by that guilty feeling, and decide to leave the critter be, and allow them to Inigo Montoya me at some point in the future. You know, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." Then, to top it off, that little critter immediately goes all Hannibal and tucks into Mama Monster. Damn, Larian, you done went there now. Okay, leveling up in Baldur's Gate 3. Well, I know it's based on 5th edition and things kind of work the same in that format, but so far I'm not a fan of it in this video game. I like a game where when you level up, you gain access to cool new in-game skills and stat increases, and the ability to equip new and wondrous equipment, and the ability to crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women. You know, the usual stuff. Now, to be fair, I'm only level 4 in the game, which is low by most video game standards, but the max level normally in D&D 5 edition is 20. So, in that sense, I'm still low level. Maybe things pick up a bit more in later levels, but I want a bit more of an experience when I level up. So far, it just kind of feels like, boom, level up. See your stats? Yep, they're still the same. Your hit points? Yeah, they went up a bit. Spells? Yeah, you can look at these now. Specialist class? Yeah, you get the option of A or B. You want the red or the white wine, sir. I just wish there was more of an occasion when you leveled up. Some dice rolling, and some effects to show what's been unlocked to you. A skill tree with more options. I do hope this gets a bit more oomph for the release. Okay, on to the characters in the game, Reservoir Dog style. You got Mr. Blonde, or should I say Mrs. Blonde, Lae'zel, who is all serious and ready to snap necks all day long. A Githyanki warrior, full plate and ready to kill you at the mention of a tadpole. Then you got Mr. White, aka Will, the Blade of Frontiers, a warlock who talks a lot of sense, but seems to be all about nuking the goblin race so far. Then you have Mr. Orange, Astarion, the elf rogue, who you just know is hiding something from you, but is playing the innocence card from the start. Okay, Kaiser Soze, I'm on to you. Then you have Mr. Pink, or Mrs. Pink, Shadowheart, the trickster cleric who seemingly is always one step away from losing her shit over something we don't know. And then you got nice guy Eddie Gale, the wizard, the glass cannon, great for blasting foes, but take him out and he'll cause big problems down the line. Has a real thirst for power, literally. These are all I've been able to use so far in the game, but there may be more, I don't know. But so far, they all have their own tale to tell, and I'm yet to discover their full truths, or I don't want to spoil it all for you. Okay, on to combat. Well, combat currently feels like a decent challenge, and if you go about it without preparing, you're going to have problems. Like, pulling aggro on a whole town at level 3 may not be the best way forward if survival is your primary aim. And when you are challenged or tasked to deal with just a few goblin leaders, if you just try to brute force it, yeah, the whole base is going to have a problem with this, and they won't let you wander about without trying to introduce you to their friends' pain and hurt. I'm yet to get into properly using spells with my characters to buff other party members, and just want to blow stuff up with every character. And with spell slots being a limiter on how many times you can use spells between each long rest, I'm racking up quite a few days in game without actually progressing very far. I am looking forward to what else this game has to offer in full release, and I'm tempted to stop playing for a while and come back and restart with a fresh character and see how the experience has changed. But I'm also enjoying exploring what's available now. So, in closing, if you're the type of person to play a game once and be done with it, then I'd wait for the full release of this title if it's something you're wanting to play. But if you sink serious time into games you love and want to give feedback to Larian, then consider getting in on the early access. I'm going to be playing some more of this game on Twitch, so come hang out if you want to see it in action and ask me some questions. Alright, thanks for watching me ramble on about my experience with Baldur's Gate 3. If you've enjoyed this, chuck me a like or even subscribe. I stream currently around 10 o'clock UK time, when able, in the evening. But you know how it is. Sometimes a street judge got a street judge. Otherwise, I'll see you next time, YouTube. And remember, Illithids aren't the law. I'm the law.